On today's video, fear grips Tampa's Cuban community, a community where Cubans forged their American dream and started businesses. But today, all that is in peril as the current administration is talking about revoking the residency of many. What's up, everybody? This is Jose from Southern Life. Welcome to West Tampa. Here in this part of Tampa, Cuban migrants found hope, a city where they could start businesses and prosper. But today, all that is changing. This is West Tampa, the Cuban side of the city. Over the years, I really haven't done too many videos in West Tampa, and Cuban is the largest demographic out here. You got the police notice from the city of Tampa. Anywhere you see these green tickets in Tampa on the window, this means that the police has the ability to trespass you. So even if the business owner is not here, the police is able to trespass people. So there's probably a homeless problem when this business has allowed this to happen. So steak sandwiches or Cuban sandwiches, real Cubans like myself, we eat steak sandwiches, not Cuban sandwiches. So the fact that they're advertising steak sandwiches means that they're targeting real Cubans here, not just tourists looking for Cuban sandwiches. You can get an efficiency. Like, this is a real hood Florida thing. Like, this is somebody where you can literally live in a bedroom or something or in their garage. You can send money to other countries. Notice how all the advertisement in Spanish. So emigración, notice it's spelled with an E. I don't know that's the right spelling. Pasaportes, Western Union, Rio de Janeiro. And they also have the green ticket right here, the City of Tampa police ticket. So they also got the same deal going on. Notice how they have motorcycle tires for sale. Probably not something that would sell here in the United States, but probably in other countries. So this is called Acosta Travel, and that's all the services they offer. The next business here is called La Antigua. I don't know what this is, but it's closed right now. It's got metal bars, windows, and it also has the green sticker from the police department. So all of these businesses here are allowing the Tampa Police Department to arrest homeless people. Then you have a barbershop over here, and this barbershop is called Juan Carlos Barbershop. So a Spanish barbershop, and they also have the notices, and it's in Spanish and in English. Over here in the alleyway, you can see that there's a bunch of garbage and stuff, and it's probably from the homeless people, somebody's underwear. So obviously homeless people have been coming back here, and there are, well, human droppings there. So like, I guess homeless people have been coming back here and using this area as a bathroom. There's toilet paper everywhere, Phillies everywhere. So this is an area that the homeless people are frequenting. You can see there's toilet paper, there's a pair of jeans. So I guess these businesses have a problem with homelessness. And notice that it says City of Tampa, so we are literally in the city limits of Tampa. But what's most resounding about this plaza is that there's literally nobody here. And there is a car for sale right here. And that's another thing that you see everywhere in Florida, cars for sale. And that's because people are having to sell everything they have so that they can return to their countries or move to another country because of immigration. The sign over here, Envíos a Cuba. So this business dedicates itself to sending stuff to Cuba. That's what this business does. Like, that's what they're advertising right there. Air or maritime, so by airplane or by boat. You can send cars to Cuba, anything you want to Cuba. As we cross the main road here, it's bizarre that it literally feels like a ghost town. There's literally nobody anywhere out here. And today is a Friday. These type of used auto parts scrapyards have been going out of business all over Florida since immigration started. We're talking like just the ones that I know about. There's one in Onico that closed down, and there's one in Juanetta that closed down. So in Hispanic neighborhoods, people that come from other countries, they're not used to paying other people to fix things for them, or they, instead of buying new parts, they'll reuse parts, so they recycle parts. But these places have been suffering tremendously since the changes that we've had with immigration. I mean, just where we stand right now, look at how many businesses are at risk of closing. Now they're talking about revoking people's residencies as well. So where we stand right now are 4 or 5 businesses who are easily at risk of having to close their doors because of new changes with immigration. A few years ago, people would have been fighting to have a piece of commercial real estate in Tampa, but today a lot of it is just vacant and overgrown and abandoned. And many of the homeless people are Hispanics. Hispanics is a demographic that normally doesn't end up in homelessness. Here at the intersection of Lewis and Hillsborough, there are 2 homeless people at this intersection. Over here you got a Nicaraguan food stand. Guarapo frio, vegetables, el Nica. They're also advertising Cuban tamales. Just at this Walgreens, there are at least 4 homeless people. When Florida started to crack down on homelessness, many of the homeless people moved into Hispanic neighborhoods to hide from the law, as law enforcement is less proactive about patrolling Hispanic neighborhoods. And today, Hispanic neighborhoods are one of the top areas where you find homeless people, even though Hispanics don't make up the largest demographic of homelessness. So it's been a very bizarre change. Despite the fact Hispanics are not the largest demographic of homeless people, today Hispanic neighborhoods are where homeless people vagrant. And well, at the next business over, there are more homeless people. So it's a rampant problem here. And then there's for rent signs everywhere. Basically, the amount of homelessness and vagrancy around here is insane. This guy's just got himself a new pair of shoes right there off the guy that was sleeping, looks like. Look at this, guys. He's scoping out people that are homeless and taking their crap, apparently. He's profiting off other homeless. A homie right there just took the guy's stuff, dude. There he is walking away with the guy's shoes. Literally stole this guy's shoes over here. This dude right here just lost his shoes, bro. Well, guys, wicked work. The guy just lost his shoes. You know, it's really hard for me to watch that and not get involved because I'm the type of person that doesn't like injustices. So the Cuban sandwiches, what Tampa is known for. All right, guys, we're off of Hillsborough. This area of the city is 80% Hispanic. It really feels more Hispanic than that. Realistically, it's probably 95% Hispanic. So you got stuff like this bakery right here, La Caridad. Now, I don't know if you've ever got, I don't know if you guys have ever gone to a Cuban bakery, but I'll see if I can show you guys inside what that looks like. But again, this is another plaza where probably everything's gonna be Hispanic. You got another Cuban business right here. And many of the things that you see for sale here in Tampa eventually end up getting shipped to Cuba by airplane or by a boat. These are products sold and taxed here in the United States to be sold in another country after being shipped. For the most part, these styles of clothes aren't things people wear here in the United States. It's meant for the Caribbean. So it's literally like entire industries and entire business districts where like almost every single business is in some way or another related to trade with the Caribbean. The homeless are drawn to these districts because law enforcement really doesn't care about patrolling Hispanic areas. You can see a Cuban flag right here. And literally all this area of West Tampa has changed a lot over the last few years. A lot of it has been businesses. A lot of it has been good stuff, you know? The dream of any Cuban in Cuba, a poor country, would be to come here to the United States and get a ride like this, you know? Most of these people are gonna have their papers, but a lot of the money that they generate comes from their communities that are now in a serious situation. Like this business here, they have Cuban passports on the windows, boxes for shipping. So if the current immigration situation were to continue, how many of these businesses here would be left? So think about what would happen to this business plaza 2 or 3 years down the road if this current trend continues. Hot Cuban food inside. And it's important to note that for the most part, most Cubans are legal in the United States. The overwhelming majority of Cubans have been here long enough to where they benefited from the dry foot, wet foot law. Now, the wet foot, dry foot law meant that any Cuban who came to the United States, all they had to do was literally just arrive here and they were allowed to stay legally in the United States. So there was a time period when Cubans who came to the United States immediately obtained their papers. But over the last few years, you've seen Cubans arrive, and as the laws change, so you know, the Cubans that have been here for a long time and got their papers, they're driving around in brand new Escalades and Lamborghinis and Corvettes and stuff. They're straight, they're all right. They're US citizens at this point. But there was a huge influx of Cubans over the last few years that didn't benefit from the wet foot, dry foot law. You know, like when you come from a country where there's nothing and you end up in the United States where there's no limitations, People really do stunt like crazy. I mean, like, there's literally like probably 4 cars in this parking lot that are worth at least $100,000. So when you come from poverty, when you come from nothing, and you end up in the United States, a country of capitalism, most Cubans have really made the best of it. And if you look at the cars that are out here, like a testament to that. But that dream that Cubans who arrived many years ago benefited from, the new arrivals don't have the same opportunity. Because even though they were granted papers, they were granted a parole, and some even got their parole, now the current administration is revoking, which means that the new Cubans that arrived will never reach that dream that Cuban generations from before did. Guys, everywhere you look here in this part of Tampa, you see homeless people. It's insane how much homelessness there is out here. Like, I can't really show it from where I'm at, but there's probably 5 or 6 people just behind the woods here. A lot of the businesses here are also like this, where they provide supplies for people who are self-employed. So you have a lot of like small level importers that bring stuff into the city from other countries so that the businesses here can thrive. This is where the American dreams of many small businesses have been crushed. Industrial parks where people made fortunes with small international trade today are complete ghost towns. Here in West Tampa is where the Cuban immigrant community came to fulfill their dreams. But today those dreams are being crushed. People who were hungry to start the American dream. But the American dream has become a nightmare for many people. Warehouses that were open are now shut, and stores that were full today are empty. Warehouses that people were fighting for today are leasing. Anybody who's in business knows that if all of a sudden you lost 15%, 20%, or 30% of your customer base, that would be enough for you to force out of business and have to close your doors. Business fronts in Tampa nowadays are empty, and well, a lot of these businesses are starting to get now leasing signs. The cars out here are absolutely insane. When Spanish people get money, they sure know how to spend it. Is anybody profiting from the current situation? Lawyers. On my Facebook newsfeed, every single day, I'm getting bombarded by lawyers. Many of these people who are undocumented and illegal in the United States are not really familiar with the laws or anything about the United States. However, lawyers are promising people to do things that realistically are not possible. Among those things are promises of legal status in the United States. That's right. Lawyers are telling people, hey, you entered the United States illegally, or you have felonies, or you have warrants, or you've been deported before. None of that matters. Give us some money and we'll help you become a U.S. citizen. I was on Facebook a few days ago and I saw an ad from a lawyer telling me that if I was the victim of a crime and one of my children born in the United States over 21 years old, and I've been a victim of a crime, that this lawyer can help me become a U.S. citizen even though I entered illegally. Now, I actually went through and I looked at all the paperwork, and clearly the paperwork from the United States government says that if you entered the United States illegally, you are not going to be getting your papers. But lawyers here in Florida continue to tell people, despite the fact you entered illegally, we're going to help you get your papers. And of course, we know that's not true. We know that's not going to happen. But basically, it's the idea of promising somebody that you can help them become a U.S. citizen when the lawyers know dang right that isn't a possibility. Now, I've talked to a few people who are in this circumstance working with a lawyer, and the lawyers are telling them, hey, we're going to apply for this program. You're paying us a crap load of money into the thousands to apply for this program. Now, I went through the U.S. government website that's linked on their paperwork, and it says clearly, if you enter the United States illegally, you do not qualify for this program. The lawyers know that. And despite the fact that lawyers know that these people don't qualify, they still charge people to go through with the process, knowing very well that the answer is always going to be no, because the paperwork tells you you don't qualify. But despite the fact they know you don't qualify, they still sell you the dream so they can milk the money out of you. And I think most of us know that that's a lie. But of course, these people from other countries are easy victims for these lawyers. Cuban pizza is a huge thing in the Tampa area. Cuban pizza is like everywhere down here, but a lot of them suck. If you are in Tampa, this one right here, Blasi's Pizza, is the best Cuban pizza in Tampa. I'm telling you on this, brother, if you come to Tampa, come to Blasi's. They are literally like the best Cuban pizza you're ever gonna have. Now, Cuban pizza, it doesn't have a crust. The cheese melts over it. It doesn't have a crust. It's rolled through it. Really thick pizza, very little sauce, lots of cheese. You can get a Hawaiian style. I'm telling you, if you find yourself in the Tampa area, this truck right here, Blasi's, I think there's 2 or 3 of them, are like the best Cuban pizza in the Tampa area. So here you got like a little fruit stand. They're selling watermelons. They're selling all types of tropical stuff. So one thing that I love about this part of Tampa is obviously the Cuban food. This Cuban pizza place is dope. So while we're here, I'm gonna get some guarapo. You don't want one? All right, I got some money. I don't know how. Oh, they got watermelon. Let's see if they got watermelon juice. All right, cool. So we got some cash money. Let's get us some. Oh, they accept EBT. Look at that. So let's get ourselves some Cuban guarapo. Hola. ¿Tiene guarapo? ¿A cuántos son? $5. Ok, dame un guarapo, por favor. Oye, ¿tienen ají cachucha? Sí. Ese cachucha del cubano. Cubano. ¿A cuántos son los paqueticos? A 4. A 4, okay. So this is like real Cuban ají cachucha. This stuff is really hard to get. Gives your food the most incredible flavor ever. What else we got here? ¿Tiene agua de melón? No. Solamente el melón. Okay. They got papaya up in here. Look at this, y'all. Wow. This is what, guanábana? Real guanábana. This is really hard to find. Cool, guys. We got our guarapo. We got Cuban ají cachucha, baby. This is what's up. And we got our Cuban guarapo. Pure sugarcane juice. Now, sometimes it's not fresh. This can be hit or miss on the street. We'll know when we taste it if it's on point or not. But probably the best $10 I've ever spent in my life right now. For you. Ají cachucha!
So now I have to cook.
You gotta cook Cuban food for me. All right. So grab that. Okay, and tell me if it's good or bad. Taste it. Just taste it. You know if.
You want me to consume pure sugar?
I like it. Turn off the music. You don't like it? Do you like it or no? Is it good or bad?
No.
What's wrong with it?
Don't like it. It tastes weird.
Pure freaking sugar.
Good. It's all for you.
You don't want this?
No, I don't.
Bro, this is pure freaking sugar. You told me you don't
Why
want...
would I want pure sugar?
It's the sweetest thing on earth. Notice the vehicles parked in front of this Latin Dollar, bro. These are like top of the line trucks, bro. Then you have Gente de Zona Barbershop. Gente de Zona Barbershop. Latin Dollar. Fefas Café. Abuelos Daycare. Se habla español, so this is like a daycare center for abuelos. Abuelos Spanish for grandpa. You have El Critico Bakery Shop. It used to be called Fefas Café. I guess it's a Cuban bakery shop now. By the way, Cuban bakery shops are insane. Ideal Medical Center, Latin Dollar, and this right here, Todo a Cuba, Vacacionar, Todo Servicio. So if you want a vacation in Cuba, these people will set you up to go to Cuba. That didn't sound right. And then you have El Único Supermarket. So basically, let me get I gotta spend some money out here, y'all. Notice the cars that are in this parking lot. When it comes to Cubans idolize American cars. As you guys know, after the revolution, Cubans were stuck with all the old American cars. So for Cubans to come to the United States, when they get over here, they're gonna want a brand new truck like this or that or that. Give me my bank card, I need some money. Give You want to buy anything? You want to know what they have for sale at a Cuban dollar store? I got to figure this out. All right, guys. So I don't know about y'all, but I got to check out what this Cuban dollar store is about. Send money. You can send money to Cuba, Western Union. Aquí se lo han inventado todo. Look at this, bro. Latin dollar. They got a Latin dollar. Now, what the crap is a Latin dollar? Well, it's probably stuff ready for Cuba. Like, everything here is todo para Cuba. So obviously everything in here is probably for Cuba. Like everything for Cuba. Latin dollar. Todo a Cuba. So see, the shirts are like $4 a piece. So this is probably like stuff you can't really sell in the United States for the United States. Todo a Cuba. Everything inside the store is for Cuba. Like nobody in the United States is gonna wear this clothes, by the way. So these are places and stores that sell stuff specifically for the purpose of shipping it to Cuba. Like you're not going to get anything here and then use it in the United States. This corner back here, you got an empty business center, which is kind of crazy because, you know, Tampa being just a large city. You got this tiny little Cuban cafeteria here. Come in, we're open, but there's nobody inside, so I'm not sure why there's nobody here. Probably when a place doesn't have customers is because it sucks. So what I want to check out is this El Único Market. Haga su orden para toda ocasión, like whether you're having a baptism, a marriage, quinceañera, an event, arroz con congri, they'll make an order for you. So like they have, let's see if we can get in here. El Único Supermarket. Let's get up in here and see what's going on. So this is what I love about Cuban places. Look at all this food, y'all. Que cosa más rica. Look at that, y'all. You got yucas. Yes, Cuban bread. We have our Cuban bread. What do you think about this plaza?
Cuban plaza I've noted outside of
Miami, yeah. Most Cuban place outside of Miami I've ever seen, right? Wicked. Frito como la papita. All right, let's keep moving. Are these the same people that were here earlier?
Yeah,
So they just hang out here?
apparently.
Yeah, that's just what they do, is just hang out here. I'm really curious to what they're doing. Somebody behind us, otherwise let's stick around and find out. I'm not sure what this guy's doing. Tremenda Pizza City! That's pretty sad right there. You guys know the famous southernmost point in the United States in Key West? Well, they have a replica of it here, and it says 334 miles to Cuba. I've had 90 millas, not at this location, but another location, and they are pretty good. I like Blasi's a little bit more, but yes. 90 millas is another one of those really good pizza places. Like the most insane things about this side of Tampa is the car game out here. So we just did a video in Haines City at a food truck park. This one isn't quite as big. This is like a new phenomenon happening in Florida, and it's starting to grow all over the state. So basically it's like a place with a bunch of different food trucks, and then you can get food from like different nationalities. Now today is a Friday night, and let me tell you that this is absolutely dead. Now yesterday was Thanksgiving, but I still feel that even beyond that it should be busier. But here you have kebabs, okay? Hamada, I've actually heard these people are pretty good. You have, this is Venezuelan or Colombian? Venezuelan. You have Venezuelan arepas. I like Colombian arepas a little bit more. But you can see that this food truck park here today is kind of empty. Most of these spots are closed. And it is a Friday. It's also really cold. And when it's cold, people don't like to go to food trucks. So this one is Colombian right here. And they have los combos del medalla. So this one's Colombian. I absolutely love Colombian, not empanadas. Katie's been looking for good Colombian arepas, and we haven't found them in a while. Used to be able to get really good ones in Miami, but we haven't seen them in a while. So you also have Jamaican. You got some tacos over here, authentic Mexican tacos, so you got a little bit of everything, a little bit of Mexican, a little bit of Colombian, a little bit of Cuban. So there's a good mix out here, but it's empty. There's a hot dog truck here. Looks like they're open, but there's no customers. So it's definitely slow out here. Probably the reason it's slow is because it's really cold, and when it's cold, people in Florida wrap it up. Apartments over there, I'm gonna ask Kid to get a price for us. I mean, they even got a billboard with a Cuban pizza on it. All right, guys, so in those apartments behind us, a tiny one bedroom is gonna run you as much as $2,300 a month. And that's really preliminary because realistically they're gonna have a bunch of other fees on top of that. And a 2-bedroom there can run as much as $2,600 a month. That's before their fees. So the problem with this part of Tampa is that it is extraordinarily expensive of a place to live. I think we might eat here on the 90 Millas, and I'm gonna take it to go probably. And I say that because the other one that I like, Blasi's, was closed today, so this one's open. Now it's really freaking cold. Katie's been sick, so she can't really outside at night. So I think I'm gonna order some pizzas here and then we'll eat it in the car. So that is what is to love about Tampa. Places like this where you can get authentic food. So for the people who say, eating at food trucks, it's bad food. It depends. I mean, look at how clean this spot is right here. Like, just look at this spot right here. There's no garbage on the ground anywhere. Like, look at how clean, even the garbage can, guys. Look at how clean the garbage can is, right? Look at how clean this place is. You can and you can see inside. So it's like everything. If you're eating at some raggedy place, of course. But like me eating at food trucks, I actually find the food to be fresher than restaurants. I mean, look, open kitchen. You can see up in there. You can see what they're doing. Look how clean that kitchen is. You can see it from out here. And we're gonna get let's see here. Let's take a look. Batido for Katie and a pizza. They got pizza and spaghetti. Very simple, straightforward menu. They have Mexican, Venezuelan. Wow, look at all the types of pizza you can get, and then milkshakes. So you get pizza and a milkshake. What a selection here. So I'm gonna get for me a pizza de queso, pizza de pepperoni, and then a batido for Katie de papaya. All right, I got this figured out, y'all. Bueno, ¿cómo está, hermano? Vamos a coger, hola, voy a llevar 2 pizzas y 2 batidos mamey. Hola.
¿Pizzas de qué van a hacer?
Una de queso, una de pepperoni y 2 batidos mamey. All right, guys, and I think we made a mistake because I just realized that Blasi's has a permanent location right here. So check it out. You got Blasi's has an actual location over here. And we're eating the competitors right across the street. So, yo, man, the police coming, man. They're not right there running from cops down there. They're gonna lock them up, man. All right, guys, so that right there is capitalism at its finest. I mean, like a Walgreens was set up next to a CVS, they done put one pizza place in front of the other. I think we messed up because across the street, Blasi's has an actual sit-down location. I just realized that now. All right, guys, so we finally got our Cuban pizzas. We'll look at this in a minute. Don't touch it until I get back, all right? And seriously, we had to do it for the video, so you can't touch it until I get back. Don't laugh. You can't touch it until I get back. People are out here with their families and stuff. It's a very safe environment. It's kind of cold outside, so we're going to eat inside the car. But it definitely feels very safe and wholesome and clean. And I think, there were parking spots available, but somebody took them.
There's one right there.
Where at?
Right next to you?
That?
Yeah.
That's reserved for a kingpin or something. But like, you can tell, like, let's go park at the other pizza place. But you can tell by the vibe here, like there's people out and stuff like that, and people with their families. Like, it's definitely, it feels safe, and that's something you don't get in all large cities today. Like, we're not like by downtown or nothing. We're in the mix of the city, and it feels safe. All right, so this is the pepperoni pizza right here. That's why all right, so Katie's going to try the Cuban pizza. Notice how it's not sliced, and you eat it, you fold it over to eat it. And we are eating in the car because it's kind of too cold for her to be outside. And then you get a Cuban milkshake, which is called a mamey. Traditionally, pizza comes in slices like these right here, like American slices. But this is not the way you eat Cuban pizza. The way to eat it properly is the way Katie's eating it.
How come yours was sliced and mine wasn't?
I ordered it that way. Now, in Bradenton, Florida, where I live, there's a bunch of Cuban pizza places, food trucks and stuff. They're all garbage. This pizza here, 90 Millas and Blasi's, are exceptional. And if you come to Tampa this year, I want you to try one of these places. This location here in West Tampa, it's now open. So if you're not comfortable with the notion of a food truck, this is like a nice restaurant. You can see they got fire outside, so it's even on a cold evening, we could have sat outside and they got like nice warm. Now open. It's just open. Okay, no wonder. I was like, yep, now open. Oh, they got heaters outside. Okay, that's what's up. I mean, the richness of, there's so much cheese on it. It's very rich in cheese. The dough's very thick. It's a very unique pizza. Both of these locations have a lot of customers. You saw some of the food trucks there didn't have customers. So if you want to find good food trucks, there has to be a line. And if you go to a restaurant or a food truck and there's no line, then it's not good. So that's one way. If you're looking for good food trucks, always find the one that's got the long line, and that's the one you want to eat at. This is a little bit more Americanized. It's got pepperoni. The Cuban pizza scene actually started in Cuba. So, for example, the Cuban sandwich actually originated in Tampa. It's not a Cuban thing. It's called a Cuban sandwich because it's on Cuban bread. So this is a Cuban pizza, and it's a very authentic and good Cuban pizza. But the Cuban pizza has been a little bit Americanized because in Cuba you're not going to get pepperoni. And this is a very Americanized version of a Cuban pizza. In 2011, when we went to Cuba, Katie, you went to Cuba with me. In Cuba, you don't have food trucks, but you have similar to a food truck. It's like a little stand. And in 2011, when we went to Cuba, Cuban pizza was like in its infancy in Cuba. So me and Katie were able to try Cuban pizza in Cuba before it became a thing in the United States. As more recent Cubans arrived, then you got a Cuban pizza scene here. But this pizza is very authentic to its Cuban roots, but of course now with pepperoni, it's very Americanized, and you can't get pepperoni in Cuba. So this is a Cuban pizza with a little bit of an American touch because in Cuba, you're not gonna get the pepperoni. Back then, on every 3 or 4 blocks, somebody was selling Cuban pizza. The hardest thing to replicate, of course, is the dough. I don't know, something about the bread in Cuba tastes very different from the bread here. And the dough never tastes the same here as it does in Cuba. Nowhere that I found here. Now, some people here get the dough right. Some people get the cheese right. But to get the whole combination right, it's really difficult. Because it's just, I don't know, it's just stuff that you can only get in Cuba. If you go to Miami, there's a place called Ray's Pizza. They're over in Miami, and they have a great one. So if you're in the Miami area, I recommend Ray's Pizza. They're pretty good. No, it's street food. It's not like you're, it's not like you're at a 5-star restaurant. The American dream has been realized for a lot of Cubans like myself, who are U.S. citizens, and the people that own these businesses that are thriving here in Tampa. For us, the American dream has been realized. But for the recent arrivals who had their status revoked, that dream has become a nightmare. As of right now, they're also going to consider revoking the status of people who are residents, permanent residents. And yet, even beyond that, the current administration has even flirted with the idea of Cubans like myself, who are U.S. citizens, of revoking our naturalization. So even for Cubans who are legal and U.S. citizens, the current political situation is a scary one. Now, personally, I don't really give a crap about politics. I've never voted and I never will. But I can't imagine how those Cubans feel who voted for this administration that is now considering revoking their U.S. citizenship status. Imagine being in the footsteps of those Cubans who voted for this administration, and now that administration is talking about removing their status as a U.S. citizen. Of course, when Cubans were voting Republican and got this government into power, they perhaps never imagined that they would be the object of hate from this administration and its followers. But today we're seeing that these Cubans are coming to the realization that their family members and they themselves are the target of this administration's hate. And well, for many, that dream has been crushed. And for many who think they're living the American dream like myself and these Cubans that are here legally, perhaps if the current situation continues, even our dreams will be crushed as well. Now this here is a pet shop, and again, a lot of these are just cultural antics of people from other countries. Here you have a pet shop. Bird keeping is really popular in Cuba. Many people here came to this country with a dream, the American dream of starting their own business. And when they came to the United States, they were legal. But today, they're no longer legal. Their status has been revoked. And now the current administration is even considering revoking even more Cubans' legal status. Those who are already legal, people who are permanent residents, are soon going to have their cases reviewed again, which means that many Cubans who are already here legally with businesses could end up getting deported. I think one of the most interesting businesses I've seen is this one. They're advertising Escuela de Impuestos. The fact that there's a niche for somebody who only speaks Spanish to learn how to fill out tax paperwork for other people, that should just give you an idea when this type of business, they teach people. So this business here will teach you in Spanish how to prepare people's taxes in the United States. So that should just give you an idea of the economical power that these businesses have. But all of this is completely at peril now. A lot of people would assume that this would be a very dangerous neighborhood, but it's a Friday night, and here we are with heavy, expensive equipment sitting in this parking lot. This isn't exactly the safest looking place, but you know, it's at night. We're here at these closed down businesses, and I don't have to worry about my safety. Tampa overall is a very safe city.